The views and opinions expressed by the host do not reflect that of the store and its management. Furthermore, the views and opinions expressed by the guest do not reflect that of the host, the show, the store, and the network.
Ano na, ECQ ulit guys. So, we're back for another episode of Seasonpass Diaries. It's your boy, Capo the Guy, aka Bryce Rivera, aka ewan ko, ako ata hari ng mga flicker dito. So, I'm here tonight with your boy, the best writer that I have ever encountered by far. Okay? This is serious, right? Yes, this is very serious. And again, this guy needs no introduction. He's a good friend, talks a lot, puts it in writing, you know, probably signs off on it most of the time. But hey man, give it a read, give him an applause. It's your boy, KStoff.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, so, alright guys, before we get started, just a short disclaimer, whatever we're gonna talk about, it will no way reflect in any shape or form
The opinions of the brand, of the host, of
me,
other associated brands.
Yeah, of course.
Our opinions are what?
Yeah, this is all, you know, our opinion. So yeah, just let us know what you think. Even if it's a bad opinion, it's okay. Comment down below. It's fine. It's okay. All right. Can you tell us more about yourself?
So, says the guy who said he don't needs no introduction, but I'm still gonna introduce
Yeah,
myself.
no. Tell him what you do.
Yeah.
Tell him where you got started and all that.
Of course. So, my name's KStoff, but you all know me as KStoff of the Instagram page, Stuff ni KStoff. So, news alert, that's how you pronounce it, Stuff ni KStoff. I have no problem, wala no issue if you call me Stuff, Stoof, Nick, Stuff. Pero,
I've never called you Stoff though. I know it was KStoff or KStoff.
mm-hmm.
You know, early on when I first stumbled across your page and your articles. Okay, so let's go a little bit back though. When did you start writing?
Well, that's actually an interesting backstory because originally I don't consider myself a writer.
Yeah. Okay.
That's really not my trade. That's not my profession. That's not what I studied for. That's not what I graduated as. Even growing up, grade school pa lang, even high school, I really wanted to be in the arts. I wanted anything that has to do with design, drawing, whether that's traditional or digital.
But what do you prefer more? Do you prefer like a more classical medium like painting or freehand drawing?
I was more into pen and ink, ink and paper,
Oh, okay.
ink on paper, pen and ink. That's
you should show. I mean, here in this video, we're gonna show some of his works. It's gonna randomly pop out. So here it is. It's
blam blam
it's
blam.
It's this part right now. So okay, you were big on pen and paper drawing.
Yes. Yeah.
So what did you enjoy drawing before?
It's usually anything that interests me, and I think that's the main foundation that followed me all throughout my sort of creative journey. I always talk about, draw, illustrate the things that really interest me and not what I feel like would interest other people.
Okay.
So that's gonna be wrestlers first and foremost.
Who's your favorite?
Undertaker, 100%.
So how'd you feel when you retired? Were you
I thought
sad?
it was about time.
But were you sad though when you retired?
Really sad because one of these days, yung goal ko talaga was to watch him perform live in a WrestleMania.
Oh, did you watch him?
In a WrestleMania.
No. I mean, did you watch him though? Like when they came over to the Philippines and.
That's a really funny story because before the SmackDown live event here in the Philippines, at the Coliseum, there was the Raw live event.
Yeah.
That was around a year or 2 years before.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the Raw one. Front row, full show,
Yeah.
boom, best time of my life even until today. But the thing is, came to SmackDown and Undertaker was on the card.
Yeah.
My parents were like, you just watched a few years ago.
Yeah.
So like, nah.
And it's not cheap though, right? I mean, it's
No.
not like a cheap ticket that you just go and get a hold of easily.
It's
you know?
not cheap, and I think most importantly, I was sitting like grade 3. So
snap.
yeah,
What?
yeah. Sorry,
Third grade,
yeah,
yeah.
yun. That early on, I was already into wrestling. But for live events, to watch it like with that amount of money as a grade schooler, my parents really didn't see the point. So that kind of made me sad. But I thought, now it's okay. Down the road, I'm gonna watch him someday. I still wish that day would come.
I mean, you never know, man. After all this pandemic bullshit, we can all see. Because that's one of my dreams as well, watching an actual WWE live event. Because I was able to watch it's not WWE, the one with John Morris and Carlito. It was back 2000.
It was sort of like, I forgot the name of it, but it was like
It's like World Championship. It's like
something X.
WCCX.
Yeah, may X dun.
Yeah,
But it was like a bunch of former wrestlers all gathered together.
yeah. Billy Gunn was there.
Yeah.
Carlito was there. Melina was there. Who else was there?
I remember that. I remember the poster for that. I didn't watch it. But
We were in lower box. It was a nice show. It almost got canceled on the spot too.
Damn.
Yeah, because there weren't enough people
yeah.
in the arena. So anyway, okay, since we're on the topic of wrestling, what's your favorite era?
It would have to be early 2000s, right after the Attitude Era ended.
The Ruthless Aggression.
And they said, get the F out, and WWE
That's
became
no, that's the Insurrection first, and then
it was like
Ruthless
after
Aggression.
Invasion, that Insurrection area, then right before Ruthless Aggression kind of began when John Cena slapped Kurt Angle in the face and said,
that's
Ruthless Aggression! And that was like the mark of the...
yeah, that's dope, man. What's your favorite match?
Okay, I mean, there are a lot of more modern matches that have come because until now I'm still watching every single week. Haven't missed a single episode ever since. But it would have to be Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, their second match. That's WrestleMania 26.
Oh, okay.
The retirement match of
Yeah, I mean-
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I was sad because I remember watching wrestling on ABC5 way back. It was like 1994, 1995. ABC5 was the only wrestling team. Well, sorry, ABC5 was the only network that was showing a legit wrestling TV show.
Yeah.
Cable wasn't really a thing back then because I was able to get cable around 1998, so I didn't really have access. So yeah, I mean it's fun. I was in the 5th grade though. It was mid Attitude Era. The old DX was done. This was the start of X-Pac, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, all that. So okay, let me ask you this, because I want this to be a show. Well, not a show. It's an episode of different topics. You know what I mean? Different topics. So, what's your thought about old wrestlers coming out of retirement, like Edge
Or Shawn Michaels. Yeah, my thought on that, I mean, we already brought up two names, Edge and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
One said that he's retired and will never wrestle again, then ended up wrestling. The other was injured, was told that he couldn't wrestle again. He worked his ass off, and then he came back to wrestle. So the first one was Shawn Michaels. My thoughts on that was, well, business is business. There was money. He said do one more match even if he's retired. Usually wrestlers hold that to their heart until they either transfer company or they really carry that with pride.
Do you think it applies though to like the vintage scene? Hey man, I'm done buying shirts. I'm done collecting, but
Then biglang bumili
no,
ulit.
and then there's that one shirt that you really wanted that makes you come out of said retirement, and then
Parang,
is it hypocrisy in your eyes though?
parang hindi na siya retirement. It was hibernation. It's probably what it is. I don't see it as I don't see it as a bad thing unless this guy probably openly states that he's never gonna do it ever again. Because at the end of the day, it's his money, it's his personal belongings that he's putting out there. That I believe that doesn't step on anyone's toes. As long as you're not affecting other people's lives, then why should you care?
Yeah, that's a good thought. So, yeah, I mean, you're known for being, the voice of this community locally here in the Philippines, and props to that. Props to all your work, man. I've seen every bit of your work, and again, if you're not sharing this guy's work, you're really missing out. What got you into writing about the vintage community?
So going back again, as I was discussing earlier, after rediscovering myself, when I found out that sure I may have a future in arts and the design, but my first job was actually a writing job.
Yeah.
Of copywriting. That's articles, interviews, scripts, and all of that. I said to myself, okay, if that's what I'm gonna be doing from 9 to 5, that's my day job. I'm writing about a different industry outside of vintage. Why not I write about things that I personally like? As I mentioned earlier, it follows me all throughout my life. So I started personally, I started writing about vintage, about anything nostalgic, video games, technology, fashion. As written in my Instagram bio, I'm a storyteller on vintage, fashion, and pop culture. So anything has to do with nostalgic stuff, that's all me.
So you're 23 now, and what year were you born? You're what?
97.
97. So it's like the later part of the 90s. But
Yeah.
what got you super interested in the vintage scene? It's not really you weren't really born in the
Yeah.
90s era. You know what I mean? You didn't pass by it, and this is in no way gatekeeping. I'm just asking. You know what I mean?
It's a valid point then because
Yeah.
I didn't live through the Attitude Era
Yeah.
of wrestling. I didn't play through like the first Mario game whenever it came out. But
Yeah.
hell, I still love Super Mario. I even own an NES right now.
Yeah. Oh man,
But-
we gotta talk about that later. But yeah,
But that's my point exactly. I didn't live through 1985 when they first released the NES.
Yeah.
Now is my chance to actually see what it's all about.
Yeah.
To feel what those kids during that time actually felt. And remotely naman from that, when it comes to probably wrestling or technology,
Yeah.
these are the things that I've grown up loving already. The industry as a whole. So for me to love what it is today, how is that different from me loving what it was back then? I still appreciate it, if not appreciate it even more. Because there's that sense of parang sentimentality, there's that sense that it's something you never get back again. So might as well treasure it as much as you want, as much as you can.
That's beautiful, man. That's a beautiful thought, to be honest. And I noticed that you're wearing your Microsoft Windows shirt, and all throughout your stories, your posts, your content, all that, you're a big fan of tech tees, right?
Yep.
You are a very big fan. So let me ask you this: do you think living in this day and age with vintage, with the old stuff, and we have the new technology to post about the old stuff, do you think that maybe the vintage scene and the new age go hand in hand together? And will it evolve more?
I think so. It's pretty reflective within our society that we always have that sense to always look back. as our technology progresses, as more and more apps are made, more and more social media platforms, you can't even count them with both your hands now on how many social media platforms there are literally. There's always gonna be that sense na even if things are growing at a really, really rapid pace, you'd want to slow down. You'd want to see what was done back then, and if not, replicate that same feeling into modern technology. So if you're seeing probably a lot of Instagrammers or TikTokers post more than one content a day, 3 a day, 10 posts a week, so fast, people digesting so fast.
Very fast paced.
As I previously said, it's called a feed, but you don't have to fill yourself up too much.
That's very true.
It's not an open buffet for you to keep on eating, even if it's called a feed. You always have to know when you're satisfied, not when you're full.
But do you think with the feed, or just like what you said, the open buffet, do you think that plays into the visibility or the presence of toxicity in the general scene of things?
The more content is out there, or the more avenues that people will have a chance to talk, which I'm thankful to say that my platform has become that space for people to openly talk about all the topics that I bring to the fore. There is a heightened chance now of people getting into really colorful discussions. And when I say colorful, I mean it goes everywhere. And then enters yung sinabi mong toxic behavior, toxic discussions.
Because it's openly available for everyone to see, especially in the comment section. I think that's the most toxic part of any content is the comment section, because you get different opinions, you get different views, you get different the attitudes of people from all walks of life. I'm not just keeping this in one day, but is there any way that it can be minimized?
The sort of toxic comments?
Yeah, the toxic comments, all that. Because if you turn off your comments, that's less engagement.
Yeah, I get it.
So you're kind of, so to speak, caught between a rock and a hard place.
For full transparency, I've only ever deleted one comment in all of my posts. Doesn't matter what the hell you put there, I'm gonna keep it on there. But I've only ever deleted one comment, and I'm pretty sure you're familiar now.
Oh hell yeah, we had that conversation.
Yeah, with what that comment is. But no.
Because do you think, okay, so you put out a story or a content. Do you think, okay, and again, don't blast me for this. This is gonna be as blunt as I can.
I'm ready.
Do you think sometimes people are too narrow-minded to understand the context of the story? That's why they throw shade.
100%. Automatic answer yun. Because,
and again, I'm not pointing out anyone.
Yeah.
This is I don't got no click. I don't have I don't have a click behind me to save my ass from a beating. But this is me asking in a fourth person, if you will, point of view. Do you think that sometimes, again, people are just toxic just because they can't understand or comprehend with the context?
yeah, 100%. First, that's probably something that they wholeheartedly believe in. That is their side of the story that they choose to, it's the hill that they choose to die on. So parang, go ahead. If that's, if you want to live the rest of your life with that sort of belief, then, go. Like, if there's really nothing that would change and broaden your perspectives and open your mind, if you really are too tight up to just relax and open up a bit, then there's really nothing we can do to help you, because that's the mindset that you chose na eh. All we can do is help. So, and I guess tangent to that, or parang coinciding with that thought, is, and you brought it up earlier, I'm not one to gatekeep.
Yeah, of course.
100%. Everything that I share on
As
my
we
page,
shouldn't, you know?
yeah,
I think this,
and as everyone should.
yeah, and like, to be honest, this community is again very welcoming. You know, it's very inclusive. I've said it time and time again. Everyone is welcome, and you know, doors are always open. Just don't force it. You know,
Exactly.
just don't force the close.
That's, and with that point kasi na everyone's welcome, the doors are always open. That goes to say that we always must try our best to make it feel that way. It's one thing to say now we welcome everyone to this line of interest, to this hobby, to this business. It doesn't matter where you stay. But you always have to go and make sure that it feels that way to the people we're trying to talk to. Because we can always say na, sure, engage in the discussion. But if your discussion is already so highfalutin, it's so up there, it's so really up there na patanggal yung cap ko. Pero,
no cap,
if it's so up there and you're letting them discuss and your target market is around, you know, here in terms of interest, in terms of where they actually stand, wala yung connect dun. So you have to at least try to communicate in the simplest of manners to the widest of audience that you can. And that's oftentimes the perspective that I take when I write my stories.
So so these stories, they exist to be, you know, a specific avenue for people to, hey man, this is what I think of this, and this is my story. So your story is a place where people can share their stories as well.
Exactly, 100%.
So dope. That's a dope concept.
I don't want to overuse the metaphor of a bridge. I don't really see it as a bridge. I see it as a platform.
Yeah.
So it's a stage.
Yeah.
So imagine there's
Why don't you? Okay, so I always see your stories on Instagram on your page. Again, big props to that page, man, because I've seen it like super, like just grow from you know,
the beginning.
Yeah, from
almost the beginning.
Almost the beginning, because again, I've only been around the vintage scene 3 years, and it's not really a place back then. It wasn't really a place where you can like really tell stories. It's just that okay. Again, not everyone see it as a piece of art, you know, a piece of history and all that. So before, the pages were like, oh, this is just a shirt. This is the price. DM me for more info, all that. But your page is one of those that, hey man, I'm gonna follow this page. I wanna see how this guy thinks, and you know, let me pick his brain, and you know, if I have, you know, I have a good comment or I have a good story, let me comment. Okay, so all right, we're on your articles a lot now, but I would want to know, what's your favorite vintage piece of clothing first?
Of all time.
Of all time. If your house is burning and you had to like just save one shirt, I've asked Herb this, what would be that shirt?
Does it have to be something that I own or not yet?
No, something you own. Because
my house is burning.
Yeah, your house is burning, and you can't really save the thought. You can't save the thought. It's already here.
I guess it would have to be the Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid.
Which you got from
Shirt.
Herb. Right? This is from
I
Herb.
didn't know. I didn't.
Yeah, I think this was from Herb, right?
I didn't get it from Herb.
Really?
Yeah.
Because we were talking about this, because he was supposed to...
Unless it came from him, then got to someone else, and then...
Yeah, I think so. Where'd you get this from?
Si Turblets.
Oh, no. I think
But
no,
wait. For parang to clear the air. Yes, I do have a Shawn Michaels from Herb.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's a different Shawn Michaels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What was it?
I'm talking about a different one. It's the WrestleMania shirt of him holding the championship belt.
Yeah.
It's colored red sa harap. And on the back print, it has the Winged Eagle championship full print in like 3 layers. It's fading down, and on the bottom it says WrestleMania there. That's in 1996. Super sexy because one, you know me, I love design.
Yeah.
The design of the belt is one of, if not the best out there.
Okay, if you guys don't know, this guy's very meticulous with design. He was one of my earliest critics of my bootlegs. So yeah, I just want to throw it in there. Okay, go ahead.
Yun. So that's visually stunning. It falls in line with my parang favorite field, which is wrestling, and it's one that I really treasure the most.
Our favorite vintage item. Vintage video game, console, what have you, or toy.
It'll be my original PS1.
Still.
The very
But I
first.
saw you auction that. Why did you auction it?
Ah, no, funny story. I have 3 PS1s. I had 3 PS1s. Now I have 1.
Were you ever a sneaker guy?
Still am sneaker guy, but not in the sneaker market. I appreciate sneakers.
Yeah.
I love them. I love the art. I love the craftsmanship. But I'm not one to like buy and sell.
That's dope. That's
But-
very dope. Because no, I remember this was like one of our first interactions. Remember, I inquired about the
The DMP.
DMP ones. Yeah. And I was really surprised because I didn't know he was a sneaker guy. I know him from vintage, but
There are a lot of things people don't expect about me.
yeah.
Which is okay. I like to keep it that way.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the things about this community that we have. Nothing is really what it seems in front, and it's a big surprise when you meet them in person. And
Yeah.
you know, again, this is like free advice, to be honest. You know, like you can't really tell someone's story just by looking at their page. You have to know their story behind all that when you meet at the store. If you do meetups when you're selling your items, you know, give people a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I try to evoke in the page. Everything that I write, that's me. It's not a character.
Yeah.
It's not like KStoff is not different from KStoff.
Yeah.
Whatever I say, that's exactly how I feel. How I talk, that's exactly how I talk.
Yeah.
I'm not putting on a show. I'm not
Yeah.
putting on a brand
Yeah.
for people to subscribe to. It's just me.
These are your, unadulterated, unfiltered thoughts, right?
It's filtered.
Well-
as we've discussed earlier, you really have to communicate with an audience.
No, but I'm just saying, like, this is what goes on in your mind. It's not,
Yes.
you know,
Ignorant other
when-
people's
yeah.
thoughts.
I mean, you can't really drop the F-bomb on your stories.
No.
You can't, it's that kind of filtered. It's
Yeah.
just, let's say the bad words are just bleeped out. The
Yeah.
bad topics are just bleeped out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the same light with the
That's, and that's dope, man. That's, again, props to all that. So, okay, let's say I'm a new seller. Say I started vintage last week, and I would come up to you for advice. What would you be advising me to do?
Connect with your circles, number 1. More than just the items that we buy and sell. Because if you're coming in as a vintage seller, you already know what you're there for, which is to sell. There are a lot of people in the vintage community who have different purposes. You have the collectors who purely collect and do not sell. They like trade or they like, DM people about their stuff. There are the buy and sell, which is business. There are those who actually want to put up a store, which props to Seasonpass, free plug, free promo, place it over here, Seasonpass. Pero,
Yes, you win.
and you have round 2, which is a business. And then there are those who, there are a lot of aspects. Pero what grounds them all together is you talk with the people.
Tapos na pero init, putang ina, wala mang aircon.
Walang ventilador yan, imbis na pag ganon.
So alright, that's your first advice, right? So if I was to ask you, what should I be focused on collecting or reselling? What do you advise to someone who is in it just for collecting, and what would you advise to someone that is for reselling?
So, for the collection part, that's primarily who I am naman. That's how I view myself. Stick to what you really love, and of course, stick to the pieces you can talk about. Because if you're collecting stuff that you have no idea about, then who are you collecting for? Are you collecting for yourself? Di mo nga alam kung ano yung kinokollect mo eh.
Yeah.
So that's point number one, and like that's the main point for collecting. My personal creation is anything visually striking. I already talked about my art background, my design background. As long as it is something that I'm super visually attracted to, G-Gunel. But for selling, that's a whole different thing. You have to connect with all the markets. I mean, you have to be aware of all the markets. That means looking at lives, looking at Instagram accounts, looking at Grail Depop, looking at Carousel if you want. You have to be on all.
By the way, Carousel for our international viewers, if there's any, it's our eBay locally.
Yeah.
We call it sulit.ph. And
Formerly OLX.
Formerly, and then it went from Sulit to OLX,
Yeah.
and then now it's just
Carousel.
Yeah.
So shout out also to our neighboring Southeast Asian countries. Yes, Carousel also exists in our Southeast Asian countries.
That's dope.
Yeah. So ayun, those little more smaller marketplaces.
So I just have, or the newer sellers, they just have to connect with all these different platforms.
Yes.
Know
See
them.
what's out there, and of course, more than just the smaller platforms, you should also be in touch with what's happening in the mainstream line of things. What's selling, what's not. Usually there are trends which you have to monitor, and they come and go. So you just have to apply your intuition, your little business hunches on when's the right time to sell, when's the right time to buy, let it rest, and then you sell.
Okay, here's a good thing that we can talk about. Because chat up mo naman tayo. And tuloy-tuloy naman to. Shoutout for our videographer, by the way. So we were talking about the lives that you were watching, connecting with your market. Since we're on the topic of lives, who is your favorite auctioneer here in the Philippines, locally?
Okay.
You just have to name one.
Okay. So it's definitely not you. Joke lang.
I'm not an auctioneer. I'm a bootleg creator. What do you mean?
Ano, sip-sip din.
No,
Kasi, who's your favorite?
No, because okay, we have a lot of loved auctioneers locally.
Okay.
So, and I'm not one of them. I'm just a seller. I'm just a bootleg creator. I know that, man. I don't really host my own lives, to be honest, except for the podcasting. But if you had to name one, and you have to be intricate on why.
Okay.
Who is your favorite local?
It's sige, ayoko muna i-disclaimer siya. I don't want to preface my answers. I'm just gonna say Vintage Luther.
Okay.
Super off the wall answer.
Yeah,
no?
so dope. Man. I was caught off guard. Okay, I want to hear this.
Of course, it all goes back to the first few episodes of the Roundtable. I've watched it since the very beginning, and I've seen, I guess, the progress of the different sellers locally. You've had a lot of repeats on there. You've had a lot of people who constantly put out the super amazing sets. But tied into what I was mentioning earlier, it's personally, it's not about the strength of the pieces, but it's about how you can relate to the people. And that's what Vintage Luther brought to the table, to the round table, if I may say. First auction piece niya ever, bottle ng alcohol. First auction piece, Green Cross alcohol.
And this is the old one too, or is it the new one?
Yung transparent, the new one. So, bro, that's gas.
Yeah, that's gas.
Fair. No.
I mean, that's very out of the box thinking.
Of course, it didn't run because it was
a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke, obviously.
Obviously.
But nandun yung connection instantly with the audience, which was primarily Filipino during that time. Now we get a mix of international players. Primarily, it's mostly Filipino, and that's already an instant connection. And you know what? Everyone's stuck in the live in even if, not everyone was bidding, everyone was engaging in the comments. Luther was dancing.
I know Luther is a part of our group, right? The Zoom Patrol?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any...
He's going pro Valorant.
Oh, okay.
So he's kind of low-key into Vintage. But during that time, ayan,
shout out Steve. I hope you make pro. Anyway.
He did jokes, he was auctioning different weird pieces, he interacted with the audience, which is, I guess, when it comes to live selling, the main foundation of it all. Is someone gonna stick through a live selling, even if they know there's a grail somewhere out there, but it's completely dead silent? Literal crickets. No one's talking, someone's just saying, okay, there's the piece. Then show the piece, silence, nothing. Alright, 30 more seconds. Alright, 10 more seconds. That's not an interesting environment. Luther made it an interesting environment. And he had the pieces to back it up as well.
Yeah. No, I've seen his pieces. Actually, his pieces are so nice. I've seen that. Okay, my favorite vintage Luther piece was the liquid blue, the Medusa one.
Yeah.
He ran that one time before. Again, this guy has been missing out on so much. That's why I can't remember the last time I saw him on live. Okay, so more on that, man. Let's say this new seller or this new guy in vintage were to ask you, hey sir, I want to be an auctioneer. I want to be a seller online. What can you advise me?
Well, if this is really the route you want to take in terms of business, or in terms of how you want your cash to flow, to rotate in the vintage scene, then I guess first and foremost you have to understand that you should not be here to step on other people, to not ruin other people's businesses or interests, because again, as I've said, we're not here to gatekeep. I was gonna say but, there's no buts. We're not here to gatekeep. But I said but.
It's okay. It's alright.
But talaga yung sabihin ko dapat eh. So, however, if you're here to sort of hoard things for yourself, for your own self-interest, self-gain, then I don't think that's gonna let you stay here for the long run. Because we're a community that really is centered on rotation, on the circulation, not just of money but of also
you know what? Yeah, with that thought though, me and Renzo, Papsi, we were talking about that. The money that we put out to buy other people's stuff, to keep that shirt and then to rotate that again. The money just it's such a refreshing thought, by the way. The money that we put out in this community, may it be local, may it be foreign, it just rotates within us.
Yep, exactly.
It might not. Okay, there are days that your investment might return a little bit lower than what you put out, and some days you're gonna your prices are gonna skyrocket. You can tax people, but it's just within it. It's not going to all these bigger companies that that just, hey, I'm a big conglomerate, I'll take your money. And that much, okay, you got our stuff, 2, 3, 4 months, you can throw that out. And now we have your money still. But here it's a different game, right?
It's not like you're some big fashion company that after the end of a season you start burning all your stuff because they don't want to let it enter the second-hand market. We are the second-hand market.
We are the second-hand market.
And these things rotate around, rotate within us. If there are people outside of the community who are interested in what we have to share, that's like 100, 1,000,000 times better. Because in that case, we're growing as a community. We get other people interested in what we have to share.
Okay, so I think we have how many? 5 minutes left. Alright, we have a lot of topics to talk about. Obviously, one episode won't really cut it, so I would want you to be a guest on my Obruk Talks on Instagram soon. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, alright, perfect. So, okay, before we end this, I kind of want to end it on a good and high note. What do you think with all the Royal Rumble, which congratulations by the way, that's from Chris. Chris's concept, High of Nostalgia, you know what's up. With the Royal Rumble, because we started just the plain lives, the conversations, and then, small auctions, and then the round table, and then the live selling, and then the individual auctions, and then Madonna, and then now we have the Royal Rumble. What do you think will come next after the Royal Rumble?
Well, the Royal Rumble was put into place because of a new Instagram feature, which was having more than one person in live. We're always finding ways to adapt to what the platform gives us. First, it was live video. Live video has always been there, but it has been more utilized during the pandemic, when the pandemic started. Then, when you added more people to live video, then you had more ideas and more concepts come up. So, the straightforward answer would be, whatever Instagram decides to put out next is where the vintage community will go on next, because that is the platform you reside in. But my personal answer would be, what's next in terms of selling, in terms of interacting with people in the community, different platform outside of Instagram.
So the scene, the community, it just adapts to whatever social media platform puts out.
Exactly.
Well, that's dope.
Yeah, because
Dope thought.
it exponentially grew during a time wherein we cannot physically see each other. So if that is gonna be the way it moves forward, which hopefully it doesn't, we pray that we can all see each other physically again safely. Everyone see each other worldwide. It would always go back to physical fleece. It would always go back to these conventions and these events. But social media platform would always be where everything, stays alive.
Yeah, but do you think the virtual barrier will be, over soon, or will
Like
it be
once physical stuff are back.
Do you think the social media platform that we're trying to adapt to will be insignificant or, let's say, obsolete when pandemic stops?
No, I feel like it's gonna grow even more because now you have the physical aspect to play around with. So now you can start making hybrids, physical and virtual at the same time. That's up to people on how they want to conceptualize that. They could have live auctions in person, live stream through Twitch. See, that's a free idea for you guys out there.
That's actually a good idea.
So, and auctions are really fun to watch, as we all know.
There's an auction happening now. There's a round table tonight. So.
Yeah, so it's just gonna evolve further. It's not. I feel like it's not. The vintage community is not one to slow down, because in the grand scheme of things, we're literally just getting started.
That's good, man. But thank you for sharing all that here, and we hope to see you soon on Roundtable. And this is very nice that we can communicate not through a live, not through a screen, and it's a very refreshing thought to talk to people. So guys, that's our episode with our favorite writer in town. He's not a new kid on the block, but he's our favorite writer. And again, don't forget, ECQ ulit starting Monday, March 29, right?
Yep.
Okay, March 29. You're probably gonna see this episode. I don't know. Next week. I really don't know. But again, thank you, KStoff, for being here, and
no problem.
Thank you for sharing all your thoughts. I hope to see you again, and we can chop it up live on Instagram, or live like this again. Because again, it's a very refreshing experience to talk to people. Finally.
As long as you're talking.
Yeah, as long as we're talking.
Keep on talking. Keep the conversation going.
But yeah, please plug whatever you're plugging.
Alright, so my Instagram is KStoff. That's STUFFNIKSTOFF. I can't believe I said that in one take. So follow me over there on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, and just recently I'm also on TikTok. Same username. So if you want all the content about communicating vintage fashion and pop culture, that's the place to be.
You write the shit down?
No, I didn't.
Man.
Congrats. One take. Oh, bro. Let's go.